Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Chris and Philip joining us on Zoom. We'll begin with a glimpse that Beth from Ledbury has sent in, and Katie's agreed to read it for us very kindly. Thank you.
Thank you. The glimpse is called Worm Therapy. Who made the worm? Why make a worm? Gendering is not an issue. When I first decided to start a compost, I knew nothing about worms. In fact, for the first few months, they stayed well clear of my bin. Do you know that in an acre of land, there can be over 1 million earthworms? So where are they? I looked longingly over the fence at my neighbour's sweet-smelling compost, oozing with worms. I had a moment's thought of rummaging with my trowel, but that would be thievery, and I'm not allowed to do that. Worms, how do you get them? Where do they come from? Do they start as fetuses? Longworms, earthworms, flatworms, ringworms, roundworms, tapeworms, computer worm. Which one is best? I Google worms and learn that worms gobble up our leftovers, and what comes out as compost. Wow, that's truly amazing. If there is too much leftovers and they overheat, they climb to the top to get some breath before diving back in again. Perhaps they should have snorkels. They work in a clockwise direction and can dig down up to 7 feet. If you don't look after your worms, they pack up their segments and head to your neighbour's home. Oh, blimey, I'm hooked. I start to reorganize my diet in order to improve the scrapes in my bin. If worms don't like onions, orange peel, or banana peel, then neither do I. They like to be kept warm and not too wet. They like to be churned so they don't get too bored or overwhelmed. And if you play it right, they have babies, lots and lots of them, until your bin is full to the brim. Worms have a brain and a nervous system and can feel pain. So we need to care, nurture, and respect them. It claims they have free will. I guess they can choose which bin to frequent. That's why you have to spoil them. 5-star all-inclusive for my invertebrates. It's now a year since I started my compost, and I think I've recognized some of my worms. They can live for up to 4 years. They let me know what mood they're in, or if they require more bedding, food, or water, or just a bit of loving. I love my composting worms. We work as a team. This spring, my flowers will look stunning, and that's thanks to my little squidgy mates. Namo Amida Bu.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you, Beth. Quite amusing, but also an incredible account of becoming tuned in to another living being and really taking care of it, and the kind of mutuality that the giving and receiving, interconnectedness. Yeah, really lovely. When I saw worms, I was like, is that what I want to, is that the one I want to choose? I was like, oh, somehow that's the one I want to choose. I'm really pleased that that's what jumped out of the drawer. Namo Amida Bu. So some time in quiet meditation together. If it's helpful, using the breath as an anchor, just noticing how it is moment to moment, not trying to breathe in any particular way. And noticing whatever comes into that space, thoughts, feelings, sensations. Maybe they just come in to your awareness and float out again. Anything that seems to be coming back around or getting stuck, it can be helpful to take a step back from and name, oh, here's some anxiety about that conversation I've got to have at work tomorrow. And then coming back to the breath. So not pushing anything away, not drawing anything in closer, just sitting. we experience the energy of the Buddha or enlightenment in lots of different ways, depending on how we are, where we are in our lives, perhaps depending on the mood of the Buddha. Maybe there is some movement from the other side as well. One of the ways that this experience is described is as meeting Quan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Quan Yin, the one who hears the cries of the world, that's what their name means. They are often at the side of Amida in Pure Land Buddhist temples, where Amida is associated with the setting sun. Quan Yin is associated with the full moon. Amida sits in the meditation position and receives everybody. Quan Yin reaches out and goes towards. And perhaps because of that, or perhaps because moonlight is a bit softer than sunlight, I get the impression that Kuan Yin is the more popular name to call on across Southeast Asia than Amida sometimes. Anyway, it was the full moon yesterday. So this evening, the chant we'll do is to Quan Yin Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva of compassion, invoking or remembering that particular quality of enlightenment. And the words are Namo Quan Yin Bodhisat. 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 Namo Quan Yin Bod Namo Quan Shin Bo Sat. Namo Quan Shin Bo Sat. Namo Quan Shin Bo Sat. Namo Quan Shi In 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 For refuge, I go to the Buddha,
For refuge, I go to the Buddha,
the one who is awake and full of love.
one who is awake and full of love.
Namo Buddhaya. For refuge, I go to the Dharma,
For refuge, I go to the Dharma,
all that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
all that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
Namo Dhammaya. For refuge, I go to the Sangha,
For refuge, I go to the Sangha,
those who live in the Buddha's light.
those who live in the Buddha's light.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sangha,
With faith in the three jewels,
with faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not take life.
I pray that I may not take life.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not steal.
I pray that I may not steal.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
With faith in the three jewels,
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may avoid intoxication.
I pray that I may avoid intoxication.
No blame,
No blame,
be kind,
be kind,
love everything.
love everything.
Innumerable are sentient beings.
We vow to save them all.
Inexhaustible are deluded passions.
We vow to transform them all.
Immeasurable are the Dharma teachings.
We vow to master them all.
Infinite is the Buddha's way.
We vow to fulfill it completely. Today, my thoughts have been swimming around grief and longing and Buddhist practice. In the book group at lunchtime that I'm leading, we've been reading a book called The Wisdom of the Wilderness about Gerald May. His experiences back in the 1990s of feeling called to go into the national parks, into the wilderness around his home. And it's a kind of cross between a sort of memoir and his thoughts on nature and spirituality. And what we've discovered through reading the book together is this sense of his longing for some kind of experience of union or oneness, maybe he even speaks to it explicitly, a feeling of being received, like coming back into the womb by the natural world. And occasionally he gets that experience, and sometimes a bald eagle flies out and tries to shit on him. And then he doesn't get that experience, because nature is both of these things. And I've also been wondering how I'll be when people leave me. Somehow that's been stirred up. if what I was going to say, if Satya dies, when, when, hopefully in a long time. Or if my best friend finds somebody more interesting to talk to, hard to imagine there's somebody more interesting than me, I know, but it is a possibility. Or dies. That a second one is a certainty for everybody around me. Every living thing, the dogs, my nieces and nephews. And it's the sort of impulse that drove Shakyamuni Buddha to start practicing, noticing the suffering that impermanence brings. These two key things about what it means to be human, this longing to be received by something and held and loved just as we are. And the kind of having to come to terms with impermanence and the world as it is. Some of us have read a paper recently called What is Amida by a Japanese-American priest. And it says very strongly, Amida Buddha is a fiction, which isn't completely my experience. But it goes on to suggest, actually, Amida Buddha is life itself. It is the kind of positive aspect of impermanence. Because without things fading away, there's no space for liveliness, for spontaneity, for something new to appear, for life, for this amazing process. So somehow these two things, this longing and this fear of impermanence, both point us back to the same thing. Can we become connected to the Buddha, to life itself, in a way that we experience as wholesome rather than frightening? It's the invitation of spiritual practice. It's very easy to kind of cleave off the Buddha, separate from life. Here is the Pure Land, completely perfect, and here is the world, defiled. And that is a valid form of spiritual practice. And, I practiced like that for a long time, and it's got a lot of merit to it. But I'm also wondering about going beyond that. And is it possible to be received in the same way as I experienced being received by this archetypal Buddha? Is it possible to be received and connected to life itself in the same way, which includes that experience of oneness in the trees, but also includes the bald eagles coming over and shitting on you? Can we welcome both of these things as the Buddha? That's easier with some things than with others, and in some places than other places, and with some people than other people. And yet, as the mantra of the Heart Sutra invites us to, we should always be going beyond. What else can we see the Buddha in? Namo Amida Bu. Thank you. So as we prostrate this evening, to this form of the Buddha, can you also prostrate to the whole of life itself? Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida.
Namo Amida.
Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida Bu. Namo Amida.
In gratitude, we offer this incense to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted awareness, and the fruits of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken to forgetfulness, realize not even.
Our places.
Hmm?
Thank you, our places.
What is that?
It's all right. To the Buddha. Finding our seats. Into our seats. And finish with the closing verse. Blessed by Amitabha's light, may we care for all living things and the holy earth. Namo Amida Bu. So a couple of announcements on Saturday afternoon. Satra and I and a couple of other people. Steve, maybe we're going. Yeah, perfect. We're going to Birmingham to join COP27. Make COP count. Climate justice.
Coalition.
It's Climate Justice UK.
It's a coalition of us.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, I don't know if it's a march or a demonstration, but we're going. You're very welcome to come and join us. We're still waiting to find the exact details of where to meet. Having discovered the meeting place is going to be full of tourists and the German Christmas market. So we'll see. It's maybe not the ideal place for demonstration. Following Saturday, we've got our maintenance morning here, where they'll be doing some inside things and some outside things to help with the fabric of the temple. All hands appreciated.
The Bodhi retreat will be on the 3rd of December, which is our big gathering of the year. We'll have like a bring share vegan lunch. And if you're not on the Google group email and you want to be, then let me know. Because we won't be sharing it with everybody because we just want that.
I mean, anybody's welcome to come, but we're not going to put a strong effort into it. It's not a kind of thing. No, of course.
But it would be nice if it's
Yeah.
we've already been, a few times.
Yeah.
And we've also got a WhatsApp group now, which some people are on already. If you don't want to be on it, I understand if you've already got many groups, but if you aren't on it and would like to be added, let me know. Final plug. I've got one space left on December Fan Zoom book group starting next Sunday at 5 o'clock for 5 weeks. Katie's in my group and Jame and 3 other lovely people. And Casper may have one spot depending whether Barbara does it or not.
That's right.
We won't know till Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you want to
You
have
can
a look
register
at
your
it.
interest, I suppose.
Yeah.
Namo Amida Bu.
Food bank reminder.
Is that the reminder?
That's
Namo Amida Bu.